as a guide if you want to do it yourself. When your bike arrives in the box, it's already 90% assembled. You're going to need a few basic tools and about 30 minutes to finish it. Let's start with the tools you're going to need to make this happen. You're going to need a 15mm socket wrench, a hex wrench with 4, 5, and 6 millimeters, an open face 15mm pedal wrench, a lock ring tool, and some bike grease. We're going to throw the frame up on a stand so it's easier to work on, but you can just do it on the floor at your house. First, we're going to start off with the wheels. You want to grab your wheel and your 15mm wrench. At first, put the wheel in loosely and get them finger tight. Once you have them tight, you take your 15mm wrench, make sure the wheel is centered, and start to tighten slowly. And make sure they're tight, because the last thing you want is to lose a wheel. Now we want to make sure the lock ring is as tight as it can be. This is really important because if you're riding fixed, the lock ring is what keeps your gear from slipping. First, we loosen the rear wheel. You take the chain off by pulling it to the side and rolling the wheel backwards. Once it is off, you pull the chain out and the wheel is off. Grab your lock ring tool, put the wheel on the ground, insert it nice and snug into the position, and push down towards the ground. Once you have it nice and snug, you can reattach the wheel. Take the chain and loop it around the gear. Again, roll it backwards. Center the wheel, tighten the nut, and you're ready to go. And next, we're going to install the handlebars. So you loosen up the faceplate bolts. They should be loose enough to use your fingers. So now that we have the faceplate off, we put our handlebars in the stem, and then you begin to insert the bolts and loosely get them in. Now that we have all the bolts started, we get in a general area where we'd like to have the handlebars, and we want to make sure that when we use our Allen key, we do not tighten them down all the way. I like to do an X pattern because we want to distribute the tension evenly. And at this point, we can decide where we want the handlebars. And make sure all the bolts are snug. And there are your handlebars. Now it's time to put in the seat. The seat post and saddle come fully assembled, so there's only a few things we need to do. First thing is we need to make sure that the seat post collar is loosened up so we can fit the seat post in. I'm using a 5mm Allen key to loosen the bolt. The next step is grease the seat post. We do this to keep it from seizing and also to keep it from rusting inside of the bike frame. We only need to apply a small amount, push it all the way around the post, simply insert it into the hole. I'm going to use a 5mm Allen wrench. Once it starts to get snug, make sure you put it in the right position. And now your saddle is on. Okay, we're looking good, almost done. Next up is the pedals. First, determine which one is left and right. There are markings usually at the end of them. What we want to do is we want to prepare the pedals with some grease on the threads. That way when we apply them to the bike, they won't rust and they'll be easy to take off later on if we'd like to change them. So take your 15mm pedal wrench and you go to your cranks and start putting on your pedals. First, I'm going to put the pedals on with my fingers and make sure I have the correct one with the correct side of the bike. I take the one with the R on it and I put it into the greased crank. On the right side of the bike, you always want to tighten it to the right. Now when you put them on the left side of the bike, it's going to be left. It changes directions. That way it does not unthread during riding your bike. Once you get them finger tight, you take your wrench and you begin to tighten them. Now this is one thing that you do not want to take easy on. Make sure you have these very tight. It's very important. And that's how you put on your pedals. On to the next step, let's put on the brake lever and adjust the brake caliper. Again, you'll be using your 5mm Allen key. Front brakes typically go onto the left handlebar. Once you get it into the desired position, you lock it down with your 5mm. Now adjusting the brakes. There's another bolt here. It takes a 5mm Allen key. You loosen that bolt. You pull onto your cable. Squeeze your brakes. And then you tighten your bolt. This will leave you with a tighter brake. Now once that you have them tightened, you can test them with your lever and see if it's where you like them. And that's how you assemble a pure fix bicycle. Make sure you take it to your local bike shop to have it double checked so you can activate your warranty. Other than that, have fun, get on your bikes, and be safe.